Hey guys, my name is Summer Meyers, and today I really need to get a schedule down for my homeschool. We have had new subjects and new books come in. It's the middle of the year and we just need to revamp. I have tried making this video like on 2 or 3 different days, and each time I've been interrupted. So I am taking this time now while my kids are outside playing and while my baby is upstairs sleeping to get this schedule started. And I thought we'd try something a little more different, maybe do a vlog rather than something formal. So why don't you join me while we do a schedule for my homeschool? And I gotta book it because I don't know if you can see our table, it's a mess. My homeschool counter is a mess. So I'm just gonna set this up and just get to it. All right, so that didn't take up nearly as much time as I need to. So I'm gonna set up and show you exactly how I plan out my schedule with multiple children. It involves my whole homeschool table. So I'm gonna get all of my cameras set up so you guys can see exactly how I do it. And hopefully that'll help you guys out when you are planning out your homeschool schedule. All right. Okay, so I've only got, I don't know how many more minutes until somebody comes running in here and talking. So we're just gonna plow through this. How I do scheduling is I go through each and every kid, all of the things that I wanna do, all the things that I want each of my children to do, and I write it down. I get a plain notebook here. I have Caroline, she's 10 years old, and she needs to do her piano for 20 minutes, her violin for 20 minutes. She vacuums downstairs. Vacuuming is new for us. She used to do dishes with my second baby, Abby, for like 15 minutes. Abby and Catherine are now old enough to just do that by themselves. So Caroline is moving on to something else I need done in the morning, which is vacuuming. So we have been practicing and incorporating that into our morning routine. It's still very new, but that's something I would like her to do. And it's just one room, depending what room really needs it done that day. So right now we've been practicing doing this homeschool room because we eat granola bars in here and there's dog hair and cat hair, and this is just where we are at the moment. So a lot of the vacuuming that she's just starting out is in this room. Caroline also has to do her personal reading. This is 20 minutes. She has finished her personal reading for the first half of her year. I know it's already March. So I need to put together a new list for her to finish up for the rest of this quarter and also probably out into the summer. I'll eventually put that together, but I'd like to keep it in there in the schedule just so it motivates me to come up with another personal reading list for her. She needs to get dressed, brush her teeth, make the bed. That takes her about 10 to 15 minutes. She does her math. We just started a new math book for her, so we still do Right Start Math, but she has graduated to the next level, and it's no longer as quick and fast as it used to be. She used to be able to knock it out in like 30 minutes, and it's gotten back up to 45, 1 hour, and I expect it to be that way. I expect it to be more challenging for her, and if it wasn't, I'd be worried. So now that it takes up a little bit more time, I do have to reschedule and rethink until she can get that number back down when she becomes more confident in her own abilities and what she is doing. And then she has English and creative writing. I put down 45 minutes an hour. I don't think it takes her that long, maybe 30 minutes max. But there are some days where she goes for a really long time. And then there are some days where she's done in 15 minutes because all it was, some kind of a drawing activity, or she just needed to do some reading from The Good and the Beautiful, whatever it was. So instead of just saying, okay, averaging it out, she probably only spends about 30 minutes every day doing it, but there are some days where it goes longer. So I like giving them some cushion for those days that are like really heavy or whatever. And then if she ends up finishing it a lot sooner, a lot earlier, it's like, hey, I finished, victory. You know, like it gives you a little bit like, oh, now I have more time to do what I want. So I don't mind packing in that extra time for her. So this is just a simple list of what she does by herself. This does not include the things that we do all together as a group, like history or science, art, music, scripture reading, prayer time, whatever. This doesn't include the list of like lunch and meals and that sort of thing. This is just stuff that I want her to complete typically on her own, or some varied time with me kind of floating in and out of her life while she's doing the things. So this is where it takes a little bit more. So you see me rolling up my sleeves. This is where it takes a little bit more time. So here I have a bunch of Post-it notes. So this is how I schedule out everybody. I am going to pick Caroline as blue because she is a blue person. And I'm gonna grab a pencil that's sharpened. Go sharpen it. So how I start is I look at my list and I write down all the things that she has to do for her list. So for Caroline. Okay, so I just spent 5 minutes writing those all out, and I realized you probably can't read it because it's in pencil. So I'm gonna rewrite over those in marker so you can make it out in that camera. Permanent marker. All right, so I have written it all out for Caroline, and what I do is I just rearrange them the way I think they should be done. So Caroline, she normally wakes up. She'll probably get dressed first, hopefully. She likes doing her piano first thing in the morning. She likes doing her violin at the end of the day. She likes doing, let's see, go ahead outside, guys. Just take it outside. They're putting on their shoes. Oh, so she'll do her vacuuming right after we eat breakfast. So we'll have a breakfast spot there. She likes doing her violin. We might need to move this up a little bit. Let's see, can you see that still? Yep. Math, her English, and her personal reading will probably continue on sometime in the morning. So this is kind of how I've spaced it out, and this is going to change, and that's okay. So now what I'm going to do, now that I have written everything down for Caroline, I'm going to do that for the rest of our kids. Okay, so I have laid out everything that I'm going to be having my kids do first thing in the morning. It's all very, it's kind of spread out the way we do it now, and I'm not quite sure if that's going to work. So we're gonna move some things around. So now what I'm going to start including are, oh, could you hear me over that? So now what I'm gonna start including is things that we are supposed to do together as a family. So these are group subjects, these are meals, These are things that I do with them. I don't think this time around I'm going to do a schedule for myself because I need to be fluid and flexible enough to maneuver around their schedule. And I know that if I do that, then it gives me more time. So when I structure myself too hard, then I do not have the ability to jump in and help out, because I'm thinking in the back of my mind, right now I'm supposed to be doing my journaling or whatever. And I need to be more flexible than that, just because I am managing a group of humans. And that's how it works in our house. Okay, so first things first, let's start with scripture study. So if you haven't already, I have listed down in the description box our morning routine. So first thing in the morning, we like to read our scriptures and we look at the weather. So I'm going to write down scripture morning routine here. And that is something we all do together as a family. And I'm going to just pop it right here to the side. This is Caroline. Maybe what I'll do is I'll make a really big... Why did I name my kids such long names? Oh, I put that sideways. Gosh darn it. Okay. There is that. So what I like to start off is our scripture morning routine. I think that typically takes us about 20 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. And during that time, I'm hoping that our kids have already accomplished getting dressed, brushing their teeth, and making their beds. Although as of right now, they haven't done that. But they do get up early and start their piano and personal reading and kind of some of the school things that they can do by themselves. It'd be really nice if they could get dressed. Maybe what I'll do is I'll split these up. All right, so Abby's here. So we'll put get dressed up here at the top for all of them. But the thing is, I like it when they come in and they're jammies still and they're kind of fresh from sleep. And then we can all snuggle in bed, but maybe this would be the easiest thing. And then, see, this is what's so nice about scheduling it like this on the fly. I can think about it through and be like, well, I think what would be better actually is just to say they can do while I am waking up, is Caroline can do her personal reading and her piano. Abby should start the oatmeal first thing in the morning. That way it is ready for us when we are ready for it. And then she can do, all right, and then we'll have our scripture routine here. And then afterwards, everybody will get dressed and get ready for the day. So Abby can do her personal reading. She likes doing her personal reading while Caroline's doing her piano there. And then get dressed. Get dressed. And Catherine typically actually doesn't usually do her piano first thing in the morning. She normally waits a little bit. So maybe what I'll say is that she can get dressed before, because if I'm being honest, I don't think Catherine and Julia, it doesn't take them 15 minutes. It takes them a little bit longer than that. So if I can train them to get up, brush their teeth, make their beds first thing in the morning, and then we do scriptures, and then they can go get dressed and go downstairs to eat, I think that would be a better thing. And then she can do her piano while sisters are doing school. So I'm going to put this down here at the bottom, and Juliet, we will say something similar. All right, so after we do our scripture morning routine, I send them downstairs to go eat. So hopefully Caroline and Abby can get dressed. Catherine and Juliet can set the table. That's a good thing. Set table. And I'm not going to put a time stamp for that. It takes them as long as it takes them, and then Caroline and Abby can jump in on that when they get downstairs. And Juliet and Catherine are very capable in getting a couple of bowls and spoons out and cups. So that'll work while their big sisters are getting dressed, and also finish up whatever little get dressed, brush your teeth chores they haven't done. Okay, so then they are all eating breakfast. So breakfast, my kids like to talk and they like to scream and play, and you know, and I want them to do that. You'll also notice that I'm not putting timestamps on this. I'm not saying by 9 o'clock, by 10 o'clock. I'll typically do that by the end of this process. Sometimes I won't do it at all because I just want us to fall into a rhythm of doing these things. And then once we've like practiced it and gotten it down and knowing when to do the next thing, or when we've practiced it enough and it's falling into that time slot of, okay, this only takes us 10 minutes to do, then I can say, okay, we're starting at 7:30. So by now we should be done, right? So scheduling takes time to practice it in. And if you're stressing out about the times, you're doing it wrong. Sorry. Okay, so I know I've got breakfast here. As soon as Caroline is done with breakfast, she should be vacuuming. So we'll pop that a little bit higher. And then as soon as she's done with breakfast, she can start her English. So her English is very independent. There's a couple of things where she can sit to the side of me and do it. So I think that works out really well. And then afterwards, she'll do her math and violin. So let's put a pin in that for now. As soon as they are done with eating breakfast, Abby can absolutely clean the kitchen with Catherine. So this means unloading the dishwasher, wiping down the tables, countertops, loading up the dishwasher, pretty much having the kitchen clean. I like having my kitchen clean before I go to bed, and that way it makes it so much easier when they come in to make breakfast that they can clean it up again, so they don't have leftover dishes from yesterday or mess with any of that. And it also just keeps us on top of it. And they're actually very good about this. Catherine is new to the cleaning the kitchen scene, but she's getting better at it. So 20 minutes, I think, is actually very generous. And while they are cleaning the kitchen, I normally do personal reading with Juliet. So personal reading for Juliet just means she goes and grabs a book from the library and we sit and we snuggle and we read this book. Henry has by now already eaten breakfast because he normally eats during our scripture morning routine. So he's running around doing Henry things, and Julia and I will sit on the couch and we will snuggle and read together. And that kind of gets her in the mood of just being with me and wanting to do school. And then we can dive into our reading lesson, which isn't quite as fun. So we do that. I hesitate to put a timestamp on reading lessons because right now she's just in lesson 20 right now. So her lessons are still only taking 15 minutes long. But based on how my other kids did with this reading program, some days it took like an hour. But I also kind of think that was because I was inexperienced in how I was doing it. So I'm going to leave that a little bit fluid and not put a time limit on that because we will be done based on how long her little body can sit there and stand it. So there are some days, because she's a toddler. Oh, and if you have not watched my toddler video, I'll link that in the description box. But because she's still a toddler and she's like active and wanting to move, she's not going to just sit there on the couch while we're doing reading. So some days she can and she will, and she gets it done really fast. And then there are some days where she's like, I'm going to do a couple of sounds and then I'm out of here. Totally okay. She's only 4. She just barely turned 4 actually. So I am okay with that. All right. So we've got that. So while Juliet is doing her reading lesson, Caroline is doing her vacuuming. So then as soon as Abby is done cleaning the kitchen, she needs something that she can do. So I'm going to move her piano down here. No. I'm going to move her personal reading down here because her personal reading is something she can do quietly. And her piano, I think they like doing their piano when I'm not there to listen to them. So maybe we'll do that. And then as soon as Juliet is done with her reading lesson, me and Catherine do her personal reading. So let's put that right here for now. And then we move right into her English lesson, and then we move right into her math lesson. And then she goes off and does her piano. I'm moving everything around. I don't know if I like the way I'm doing it. So I'm going to push this all up. All right, so that's kind of how our morning routine is going. Let's add lunchtime into that. And this is also the time when I do our read aloud for for our day. I still need to schedule a time for us to do our history. And our history lesson, I would say, takes a good hour, just based on prep for it and also gathering them together. I want to say 45 minutes. I hate committing a full hour to it because I don't think it always does. And then science, I think, takes a good 45 minutes too. And then art / music. So my kids say we don't do enough art and music, so we are going to try to do this more often. An art lesson between 30 minutes to an hour. Now that I've kind of got a sense of where everything is going, I don't think I like how it's set up, especially right after cleaning the kitchen and vacuuming. I wonder if there's some rearranging I can do. So I've tried adding history or science, art and music to this in the morning routine, and I could do it the first year we did homeschool, but then I only had 2 kids. Now I am trying to juggle 4. All right, so this is where, when I'm stuck and I don't know quite how to do it, this is when I start adding times and actual time stamps of, okay, this is how long it should take, so where does everything fall into? And you can get a big poster board and actually time it out, but I find like I move things around too much and not everything ends at the O clock, at the O hour. So, you know, depending on how you want to do this, you can absolutely do that way. I'm going to go ahead and say my alarm rings at 7:30, but we don't start moving until 8. So we're going to start at 8 o'clock, 8 a.m., 10, 11, and 11 o'clock is usually about the time Henry Lewis goes down for a nap. So I'm going to keep that in the back of my mind. 12 o'clock is when I want to start lunch prep. So we are eating by 12:30. And that means like sitting down at the table and eating. I'm still gonna have to make some adjustments because I didn't rearrange it as much as I was hoping to. I feel like this is very still much like how we normally do our school. Except now we've included the routines like the vacuuming and the cleaning the kitchen, which are all new for me and for my kids. I still kind of wish we could incorporate art and science. Should we do something crazy? All right, let's do something crazy. What if we did something a little bit different? Instead of going straight into our chores right after eating breakfast, except I would like them to have eaten breakfast. So what if we have them do their chores after breakfast? So what if I have them do their chores, me and Juliet, while they're doing chores, do her reading lesson, and then as soon as they're done doing chores, what if we incorporated either history, art, or science? Start off our day a little different. And then alternate between the 3 of those. That gives me time to set those up while they're doing their chores. After we are done, have Catherine come in and do, see, the thing is with that is that my littles will need a break. So as soon as we've done a group lesson, we'll have to start doing Abby and Caroline first. So Abby technically has not done her personal reading yet. So let's have Abby, right after we're done doing that, we will do math together and then English together. And I think she'll like that because she has been asking to go do school first. So if she can get that stuff done with me, and then Caroline, she can start her violin right after school, right after we do our group subject. And then when she gets done, she can do her English with me off to the side. It's really easy to get her started and then move her along. And then as soon as Abby is done with her math and her English, I can work on Caroline's math. So technically we should be able to just dive right into her math as soon as she is done. And then as soon as I'm done with Caroline's math, it would be nice to call Juliet down to do her personal reading. About this time, she's starting to get antsy anyway during the day, and needing some of my attention. She's usually coming and asking me for my phone. So if I can ask her to come down and do stuff with me after Caroline's math. So we'll put that there and pretend that that's really low. That's after Caroline's math. And then after we do Juliet, we can send Catherine in to do piano after this. And this gives her a chance to just run off. And it gives Juliet a chance to go play and do whatever she would like to do. And then this is a problem though, because if I call Catherine in after we've already done a lesson, don't know how well that's going to go, and that would make her lesson last, and she tends to get really exhausted. It's better to catch her first thing in the morning, which is why I have my schedule set up the way I'd like it now. But it would be really nice to get this, because I feel like we miss history and science a lot more frequently because it's in the afternoon. So if I put this up a little bit higher, I should have done this one in pink. Okay, that is much better. Okay, so I can send Catherine off as soon as we are done with our group subject. I can send her off to do her piano and also her handwriting technically too. Usually with handwriting, I kind of just mash it into any time that I am interrupted. So there isn't usually a set time where I'm like, okay, make sure you get your handwriting done. It's kind of like, you need something to do while I do this, so you do this. And that doesn't sound very nice, but that's kind of how it is in our house. All right, so Caroline can do violin, and then she can come down and do her English and her math. Abby, we can do her math right after this. And then her English, I can get her started with English, and then she is done technically after 15 minutes and does her independent work, which means I could start Juliet off. Oh, no. So then I do math with Caroline. That's right. And then she does her handwriting and her personal reading. So then I've got my two big kids set. I might have to push Caroline off into the afternoon because I think Caroline can handle being later in the day, but Catherine cannot. So as soon as Abby is done, I need to put Catherine next. So I'll put Catherine here right after Abby's English, personal reading English, and then math here. And then she can do her handwriting. Juliet still though. Man, Juliet. I wonder if I can do Juliet earlier in the morning while everybody else is doing these things. It might make sense to call Juliet in to do her personal reading and her reading lesson earlier in the morning and push her stuff up a little bit higher. I kind of like that idea because she always asks if we can do it in my bed, and it takes me a while to get out of bed, guys. I like laying in bed and looking at, my books and my phone and whatever. So if I can do that, but I also have Henry usually. That's something to try though. That's something that we could try. And then after we've done all of this, while they're cleaning the kitchen, Juliet can run upstairs and get dressed and ready and make her bed and that sort of thing. And she's still 4, so she can't really brush her teeth very well. She can make her bed very well. And she can get dressed fine by herself. So that might be something to try out. And that way we get Juliet squared away first thing in the morning. We get Catherine squared away almost in the morning. And we get all of this done in the morning as well. Ooh, I think I figured it out. Okay, So now the real test is to kind of see how our times are going in this. I haven't put in lunch prep, but that's mostly because I've run out of tables. So we're just going to pretend that that's down there and it's fine. All right, so first thing in the morning, if we are reading our scriptures by 8 a.m., which means that by 7:30, they should be doing all of that stuff. And they get up early, so I don't have problems with making them do that instead of going and making a mess in the rest of the house. And then if we are eating breakfast and done by eating breakfast by, let's say a little after 9. So we're going to set 9 just about right there. So it's going to be like 9:10, 9:20. And then they're going to be vacuuming in the kitchen. And that means I need to be done by 9 o'clock. So I can get our history and science set up. So we are done by 10:30. An hour here, 10:30, so that should be 11:30 there, right? But see, Caroline, that means I'm hitting Caroline's work just at about 12 o'clock when she should be eating. So that means if I do my schedule this way, it means Caroline's work will be in the afternoon. I'll have to talk with her about that and see if she is comfortable with that. But otherwise, I really do think I can push all of this in there. If we started earlier, we could get it done sooner, but I don't think we should start sooner than 8. Okay. So this is how I've worked it out, and I think this is going to work. The thing is with this sort of scheduling is that this takes practice and it throws our routine off. So ideally, it's not going to be working and functioning like this for at least a month. And it's already March. So that means it'll only be working for April and May because I planned it out that we should be done with school by May. So we're going to go ahead and try it and see how it works. And I guess I'll tell you guys how it went. So this is how I schedule our homeschool days. This is how I do it. I get everything out and I rearrange and I set up and I think about it with Post-it notes. I'm going to take a picture of this. I'm going to upload it onto my computer and lay it out into an actual document. And then I'm going to print it off in a list so my kids can refer to their list and say, okay, this is how it's going. And that's just building a routine. They're not going to have to look at that list every single time and check it off or anything. I'm not that cute of a mom to have little checklists. But in order for them to remember things, that's how we start it off until it becomes in a pattern, until it comes into rhythm, and until it works. If this video was at all helpful and if it wasn't all completely random and messy and just all over the place, like this video, subscribe down below. I put out videos once every week because that's as much time as I have. And that is it. I will see you guys all next week. Bye. I should have scheduled YouTube videos. I should have mixed that into the group. Get 15 minutes. You know how loud that door is every time you come in? They're just going to be coming in and out. There's nothing I can do about it. Okay. I'm running out of tabletop space. I did it. How long did it take me? Oh my gosh. It's past lunchtime.